What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Men's Power Connect and our podcast as well as YouTube episodes here. We hope that you all have enjoyed all of the episodes that we've done previously here. And I'm sitting here again with my iron sharpening iron brothers.
Osei, Harvey.
Myron Head.
How's it going?
Man, we here.
We here.
We are here.
Yes.
But it's
doing well.
It look a little different.
It does look a little different.
Around here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We laid back. We're a little bit more relaxed.
I like
We are, but
I'm trying not to get too comfortable.
It's
though.
not the Men's Power Connect t-shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got that
we're
too.
still rocking them.
We're still rocking the
Still rocking
t-shirts.
the
What
Men's
else
Power
we got?
Connect T-shirts,
100%.
for sure.
Yeah, and you guys have done such a significant, wonderful job as far as supporting us.
Yes.
We're well over 200 at this point, right?
Love it.
Subscribers and comments coming in. So we really, really appreciate y'all for hanging in there with us and really supporting us at this level. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So listen, we got an exciting episode for you guys today. So just the last episode you would have seen, we talked about day one dads, right? First time you were a dad, first time you held your child, whether it's a son or a daughter for the very first time. Still looking for comments from you all on that episode just to see what that experience was like. We'll take a little bit of a turn today. So we talked before about the joys of day one dads, but today we want to talk about, as a dad, something I'd never
Ever.
do again.
Ever.
Do again.
So that's what we're talking about today. Never again dads, right?
Right. Never again dads. Because oftentimes, like you said, Myron, the last time we talked about is the joy
Mm-hmm.
of being a dad when we find out that we were going to be dads the
Right.
first time we're holding
Yeah.
our sons in our arms.
Love that moment.
Which was great.
Yeah.
And then parenting kicked in.
That's what happened.
As they started to get
They
older.
take that at the hospital. You're like, yo, you know you got a parent now. Like,
Exactly.
Right.
So now we're thinking as they've grown, then there's some things that we may have done or said that we say we would never do it again, whether it be in the heat of the moment,
Yep.
whether it be a situation that we were in. But there are some things that we have done or said that we said we would never, ever do it again. So we're also challenging you all to say, if there are some things that
Yes.
you have said or done, we want to hear that. So put that in the comments there. So I'll actually pose a question to each one of you all.
Okay.
Let's just start off with one example. What is one thing that you say you would never, ever do again?
Yeah.
You're going to go then, right, Myra?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I know. He's like, I'm getting ready to jump
Yeah, I'm
in.
gonna jump right in. So, yeah, when I was a very new dad, my wife, she would stay at home with my son. I would go off to work, so she had him all day. So at night, I would try and fill in the gap for her, let her get her rest. And so one night, my son, as babies do, don't go to sleep when you want them to. They kind of on their own schedule. So I got up to kind of walk him, give him his bottle, and then rock him. And so I'm walking through the hallway, rocking him, singing to him. It's like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I got to get up in 2 hours. And I must have started sleepwalking, man. And how I knew that is because I heard his head hit the wall in the hallway. So he's walking in my arm, and I'm just, boom. And I didn't hit it that hard because my wife didn't wake up, but it was still one of those moments as a dad where it happens, and it's just like you feel so bad, so terrible. He's smart as a whip, though.
He is smart.
So when I was watching, I
result.
didn't mess him up or anything like
Very
that.
smart.
But I think it's interesting as a father, there's not just those moments where it's like, I wish, I knew not to do that, but I did it. There's also those moments I didn't realize I was going to fall asleep while I'm rocking my, it's the last thing I would think, would happen, but it happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. 100%. Yeah.
What about you, Osei?
Yeah. Hey, man. I had actually a similar situation.
Okay.
And I'll tell y'all two. So the first one, my wife was away for work, and I had some odds, taking care of them. I don't know if I had to go in the refrigerator for a bottle or something like that.
Yeah.
But I had him in one arm, right? So I had him in one arm. Y'all already know where I'm going. Had him in one arm. I'm opening the refrigerator with the other arm, right? At this point, he was probably about 4 months. And so he had a little wiggle on him. Right. So, you know, the strength kind of got away from me a little bit. And before I knew it, man, that brother flipped over and hit. And when I say he hit, after that happened, I started crying.
What?
It was that bad.
Yeah.
The fact that my son was on the ground at 4 months as a result of, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's just one of those situations where it just happened. You really didn't have any control.
Sure.
You know, he's crying hysterically. I'm calling 911. You know what I mean? Like, I'm calling my wife.
You're in the kitchen.
I'm in the kitchen.
Refrigerator. There's not carpet in there.
No, man.
Not in the kitchen.
Nah.
It's either tile or some wood.
That's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had one of those, you know, one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it messed me up,
That's a
man.
scary
Was
moment.
Ebony at home?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
I called her.
He's still here,
hysterical.
man. No,
Right. Hey, exactly.
You know, we would've been
You know what I mean?
going.
Yeah, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
Rest in peace,
Yeah, right.
right?
100%. Shout
Are
out
you
to her.
serious?
Yeah, she wasn't at home, so I called her, and she actually was the one to calm me down.
Wow.
She brought
That's
me
what's
back
up.
down
Wow.
and grounded me. I was like, okay, this is what you need to do, you know, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking back on this situation, again, we do come across moments that are out of our control.
Correct.
Absolutely.
You know, it just happens. It's a mistake. You know, didn't mean any harm in it, but it was just one of those situations where I just had to, you know, figure it out quickly, get him to the hospital.
Mhm.
Thank God there was not anything. They did the CT scan and all that. There wasn't anything that was broken or whatever. And then it took him some time to just kind of come to. I don't think he had a concussion.
Okay.
You know, from what I remember.
Okay.
But that situation
Wow.
right there was like, nah. So I was gripping that brother like
No,
that. You should. No, I couldn't.
I mean, I'm sure after that you're like,
Yeah.
you're never getting
That's that
out
kung
of
fu
my
grip right
control.
there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
Wow.
And then I would say the second thing is, so we were somewhere, and I think Samaj was probably about 3,
Okay.
maybe 3.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And you know, so somebody is actually keeping an eye on him while I'm doing my thing, you know, or what have you. And Samaj kind of got a little agitated and started hitting this person in the face.
This is an adult or?
This is an adult.
Okay.
This is an adult.
Okay.
So I see it. And so I calmly walk over to him and I take him to the restroom. So as you can imagine, I'm boiling,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You know I'm going.
Yes.
My elevator is high.
Yeah.
And so when I take him to the bathroom in that stall, nobody's in there. So there's no accountability. It's like,
Yep.
and I went full into his little tail.
Wow.
And he was crying to the point where he was looking at me with wide eyes like, are you really doing this to me right now? And so that stuck. Just seeing that
So you
reaction from him.
So you were reacting.
There you go. There you go.
To what he
I was-
saw.
You
I
were
was-
not responding. Did you understand the context of why he was, not that it was appropriate or right for him to be hitting that person in the face, but what was the context regarding that as a 3-year-old as well?
It's a 3-year-old context. It's
I
like
don't
Yeah.
know. Well, I'm not saying that
yeah.
the context that's right or anything like that, but oftentimes we may just assume that we know
what was
what
going
the
on.
situation, or that should never happen. So regardless of the situation or the context,
I don't even know
I'm
what
going to react.
Yeah,
to
I don't
that.
even know what the precipitating issue was or what happened prior to that. All I saw, I turned and I saw my son wailing on this young lady. So automatically, you know, there's a couple things that come with that.
Right.
Embarrassment.
Correct.
You know, you see, you got people looking at your child,
Right.
who you have every intention of raising right. You tell him, you know, even at that age, what self-control looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not exhibiting that right now.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, you are hitting a young lady that's taking care of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, he didn't understand it. But in my mind,
Correct.
this is what I'm thinking about.
Sure.
So I'm hot. I'm to the point where I'm not thinking about what I need to do in this moment. That's not going to be such a traumatic moment for him, because it was traumatic for him to look at me the way that he did in that moment.
So you just went right into him instead of having the conversation
Correct.
with him first,
Correct.
then lighting him up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Before that, that's what
Right.
I was.
Okay.
That's what I was.
The context.
looking at.
Yeah.
The context,
Yeah.
or just because that felt like a reaction
It was.
instead of a response.
Yeah.
It was. It was very much so a reaction.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I felt like it was supposed to happen in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But then after I processed, like I felt like that was validated. But after I processed it, I said, yeah. I just kept seeing his eyes.
Wow.
And I just told myself that is something that I would never do
Never
again.
do.
And so now, to your point, if there's anything that happens or occurs with any of my children,
Yeah.
whether I see what happened prior to or if there was a precipitating situation, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to take at least 2.5 seconds
Yeah.
and think about, all right, how do I need to approach this situation
Mhm.
before I react, because of the potential harm that it can do to my child. And then if that harm occurs, guess what? Their trust meter or their trust needle is going to go down.
Yeah.
So now I don't feel like I can do anything wrong because you don't just wail on me at the drop of a hat.
And not only what you're harming them with physically,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
emotionally
Yeah.
and mentally,
Right.
what that can do for them.
Those components as well. Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting, man. That's unfortunately, I don't think that's an uncommon thing
Sure.
Right.
for dads,
Right.
especially in those earlier years.
Right.
You just don't know what you're doing, and you know. So I had a similar situation as
Mhm.
well with my son.
Mm.
He was probably like 2, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I come home one day, and you know, towards the end of the day, so I take him to give him a bath, and you know, he's a 2-year-old. He's
Mhm.
playing in the bathtub, so you know, he all over the place in the
Right.
bathtub, and I'm like, all right, come on, okay, I let him play for a little bit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, that's enough. Let's, you know, hey, I gotta get you bathed so you can. He's still playing. I'm like, hey, that's enough. I told you that's enough. And you know, at that age, you're still kind of developing that sense of no, don't touch. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's not getting it. And I don't know what kind of day I had, man. I must have had one
Mm.
because before I knew it, I spanked him, and it wasn't a normal like, you know, hey, don't, you know how you, all right, don't. I went from like 0 to 10 on him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to the
Yeah.
point where I was holding his arm when I spanked him, and his legs came out from under him.
Because he's in the bathtub.
Because he's in the bathtub.
Right.
So he ain't got no balance. So
Yeah.
when that happened, immediately after, I was just like, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Mm.
And he didn't necessarily like cry or anything like that. He straightened up
Yeah.
in that moment. So it was like mission accomplished, but dang, that's not the way you want to accomplish the mission.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it felt like for me, in that moment, it really helped me to realize, like you said, you got to take a moment. You got to
Yeah,
take
man.
that breath.
Yeah.
You can't approach discipline from that frustrated
Mhm.
place.
Yeah. That's
It
right.
kind of reminds me of, as fathers, how do we always exemplify the fruit of the Spirit?
Yeah.
No matter
Yeah.
what the situation is or the experience that our kids may be driving us to.
Okay.
How can we always exemplify the fruit of the Spirit where there's love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, and self-control?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
How do we operate?
It's a lot of them in that frustration
It's a
moment.
lot of it.
Yeah.
It
You're
is.
You're gonna be
How do
like
you do
joy,
that?
peace. I don't know. I don't remember.
Right. Long-suffering, temperance,
Yeah.
meekness.
Uh huh.
How do you do that? Because what you're going through, those external factors that are at play in your life, you bring that into your discipline. Because you're like, I've got other things. I think we said it in the pre-meeting where you said, I'm not in control.
I'm not in control.
I am not in control of this situation.
What I need you to do right now is I need you to stop playing, because I have things to do before I can go to bed. I got to get you to bed.
That's correct.
I got to,
Right.
hopefully it's a great night. She ain't too tired. I got to do all that, you know. And then I want to sleep like
I
want to sleep
right.
look, right, you block. And I want to sleep like a baby too.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in that moment, like you said, I'm not in control.
Yeah.
And that adds to the frustration, right? Because I can't control the situation.
That's right.
And you're not in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to be in charge, but you're not allowing me to feel that in this moment, and that creates another level of tension.
So one of the things that's really helped me, that I really start to put into practice, is I've got hats, and I've got to take that hat off of work. I got to take that hat off of frustration before I cross this threshold into where I'm going to be my role, this significant role as a father. Before I present myself to my family, I got to do a check-in.
Come on.
Sometimes I just need maybe 2 minutes just in the garage, like,
Yep.
Let me take some deep breaths.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and transition. And sometimes I literally do one of these.
I remember you talking to me about this years ago. Yeah.
I gotta go ahead and change that hat out, because I don't want to put myself in a position where my family does not trust me to be able to be my full self with them because of what I'm bringing home with me. You know, especially like things happen throughout the course of the day. Yeah. Again, things that we can't control.
Sure.
And subconsciously, those things may rest on us.
Right.
And so is it fair for our families to have to experience that? No. So let's do our due diligence. Well, let me make it personal. Let me do my due diligence and making sure, all right, let me take some deep breaths. I'm riding home to 92.9, which is the sports talk radio, you know what I mean? So that everything that I've done during the day, all right, now I've got time to switch gears.
Sure.
You're starting to decompress at this point.
Correct, 100%. And now I can go home knowing that, all right.
Daddy!
Catherine and I actually had two, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
So Catherine and I had a couple of rules when the boys were younger that we would do.
Okay.
One is that I would not come into the home on the phone. Because if I'm still doing work or someone's just on the call, I literally would be sitting in the garage or in the driveway. I could be there for 30 minutes just talking on the phone. But if I walked in on the phone, I couldn't be my full present self with my family. And I need to transition, so I would never walk in. The second space, or the second thing that we did, was that when I did come in, they would greet me, but then they would give me like a 15-minute space break. So that I can just put my things away, decompress, just make sure that
I go to the bathroom.
Go to the restroom, whatever I need to
told
do.
Them you had to go to the bathroom.
Right, right. But she would come in, greet your dad, give him about a 15-minute space, and then we come together as a family. And that worked so well because all of us then start getting in that we're a family now. That's not just the work man. He's daddy now.
Correct.
And I could really transition easier because we had those boundaries set up, or those guidelines, I guess I should say, set up.
That's good.
That it made it easier for us to transition into that space. And if I did have something that was weighting heavy on me, then I could have that space to talk to Catherine about it before I start engaging with the kids.
I mean that's great, man. We had kind of something similar where I would try to make sure that I didn't come into the house on the phone, especially while they're young. And then similar, like we didn't have like a rule or anything like that, but I would make sure that when I came in, I would just be like, all right, hey, let me have a few minutes.
Right.
Like I said, sometimes you might be like, Daddy needs to go to the bathroom. Not really. I just need a minute to kind of decompress.
That's right.
And be okay, because I need, like you said, I need to be able to be my full self with my family. I don't want to bring my day to the family.
Right.
And so I think that's so important. And then the communication piece, right? Like you mentioned with your wife, because there may be times where you need to, on the way home, say, hey, babe, listen, today was a day.
Talk about
when
it.
I get home, I know you had them all day, but I need a minute. If I'm going to be effective, I'm gonna need a minute. You know, so that communication is piece of being able to convey when you have that going on. You got to get into details always. You know, y'all can have that conversation later, but maybe it's, hey, I just need, matter of fact, hey, I'll pick up food. You don't even have to worry about cooking, because I need a minute when I get there. I know you don't worry about cooking tonight. I'll take care of dinner. You know, whatever you need to do to make sure, because that's the flip side of it is, you're looking at it like, hey, I had a day. She might be like,
I had a day
too.
too.
I got your 2 kids. So what we gonna do? Like,
I think we all got it.
you know, right? So
Tag, you're it. You're in.
So that's why sometimes it's got to be, I'll do dinner. You don't worry about it, and I'll take care of dinner.
I'll order dinner.
Yeah, all right, order dinner, right. That's what translation to I'll take care of dinner is. We go to Chick-fil-A.
Correct.
So, shout out Chick-fil-A.
Salute.
Come through the clutch anytime.
100%.
Oh my
100%.
God.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for me then, because we're talking about
Never again.
again that you would do. So with my sons being a little bit older, I've had an opportunity to reflect on some of those things that I wish I would have done that I didn't do, and so I never do it again.